What's up, guys? I'm Ken. Welcome back. This is the Shop Gaming Gamers, and we want to talk about something pretty controversial. Now, I'm sure we're not going to go through all the details of the product because I'm sure you already have seen it. You already know about it. We just want to talk about kind of the implications and the backtracking Wizards has done based on previous statements they made and the lie and just our thoughts, I guess. We've been in this game since pretty much the beginning, since 94. And we own a plethora of reserve lists cards, so I'm sure it's going to come across as entitlement or gatekeeping or whatever you want. But there is something to be said about honesty and honor and maintaining a truth to your player base. And while these are not direct reprints, okay, for anybody that doesn't know, Wizards is doing this. So they're basically reprinting all of the alpha or beta set with the exception of some cards, and they're doing retro borders as well as like an alternate art version Soul Ring, not alternate art, refocused. It's a recropped size Soul Ring, and they're doing them in 4 booster packs, and those 4 booster packs, 15 cards each, randomized, and they're $1,000. Great, I'm fine with it. They should have made it $2,500 in my opinion, but they shouldn't have made it at all. These are basically a direct, I don't want to call it competition because it's not, and I don't want to call it ripoff because clearly it's Wizards, but they did the CE and ICE sets, if you know what those are. They were collector sets, and I believe they were $50. We have 2 of them, but I don't remember what I paid for them. But they are basically complete sets of beta, and they're basically, I'll show you some pictures. They are square bordered cards with gold backs, and they say collector's edition or international collector's edition on the back. And they've risen quite a bit in value. I think a sealed, as of this time, a sealed CE or ICE set in the box sealed is right around $20,000 to $24,000, depending on who you're buying from and the availability at the time. They're pretty rare. So there are only 10,000 of the regular CE for the US, and then there are around 5,000. They were supposed to do another 10, but they only ended up doing 5,000 of the international, the ICEs. A lot of these sets have been opened and destroyed. People used to reback cards. They would peel off the front of a Black Lotus or Time Walk or whatever and put it on a real Magic back, and those are what most rebacks come from. Basically, they were a way for people just to buy that set since you couldn't get the cards very easily, but they were never tournament legal. Now, some play groups are allowing Time Twisters and stuff like that, dual lands from the ICE and CE sets in their EDH play groups because, well, Rule 0. So you could play Black Lotus in your playgroup if the group allows it, right? But no official tournaments have allowed any of the CE or ICE stuff, just like no official tournaments will allow this new release. But that doesn't mean you're not going to see this stuff in your EDH games, which maybe you don't care and maybe it's not a big deal, and most people proxy anyway, so it is what it is. But from a product release standpoint, Mark Rosewater made a post, and I'll put it right here. He's basically saying they'll never reprint any different bordered fronts or backs of reserve list cards. Yet, that's exactly what they did here. Unless these cards are actually a different size, and maybe they're arguing that they're getting away with it because they're modern cut shaped versus beta or even alpha. They're saying they're a different size because of that, which I think is complete BS. If the card is the same height and the same width, it's the same size. I don't care what the border shape is. They were able to print the ICE and CE sets because they were printed in 94? No, 93. They were actually printed right at the end of 93. So they were released the same year as alpha and beta. So they were well before the reserve list. But these new proxies, these official Wizards of the Coast proxies, if you will, they're official size as far as I understand. It's also 15. They're randomized packs. It clearly feels like a money grab, but they're business, so I get it. I understand. I can't complain about business practices. I don't hate it. I just hate that they went against their word, saying they were not going to reprint reserve list cards in any form. There's documentation of it. One of the ironic things is somebody figured out the math, and to try to get a complete set of this new release is going to take about $20,000 to $24,000 worth of booster packs, of these new booster packs. And it's kind of ironic that the cost to build this new set is the same cost of the current market value of the CE or ICE sets. Wizards did their math there, and they're basically trying to compete directly with that product. And they know people are going to buy it, and it's kind of a shame. I don't know what to say. It disappoints me to a degree. I understand there's going to be a ton of people super happy, but again, it's $1,000 price point, right? So it's not exactly accessible. It is going to it's not going to flood the market because it's a limited release. It's not print on demand, but it is going to be released like the other secret layers. But it's not print on demand, and it's going to be limited. So I get that, but it's just it doesn't feel right. As somebody who's been around this long, it just doesn't feel right. How about you? Tell me, when did you start Magic, and what are your thoughts on this? Put the year and your thoughts on this new product release. I know even a lot of people in my local playgroups or my playgroups back in Florida that I'm still in chats with, they're not happy about this. And a lot of them are even newer Magic players, newer in like the past 5 to 8 years. So they've been around since the reserve list, and they understand the reserve list. A lot of them maybe own a couple dual lands, but no power, stuff like that. And they're still just like, this is crazy. I can't believe Wizards doing this. So just be sure to put down in the comments below your thoughts on this situation. And yeah, to me, it just feels like a blatant wrong move by Wizards. Now, when it comes to pricing, I don't think it's going to affect CE. I'm not worried about the price of like my CE collections, because you're gonna say, well, you have 2 CE sets and you're complaining about this because it's gonna hurt your value. I'm not actually worried about the value. I think they're gonna dip short term, but long term there's still that same number of sets out there, and it's probably not gonna hurt the value too much. It's more about the honorability, the lie. It's just it's kind of blatant. And even on the weekly MTG video, it had Mark Rosewater and Elaine Chase sitting down with Blake, and you could just kind of almost tell, like, Elaine, I don't know if she's just not comfortable on camera or what, but she almost didn't really want, she almost didn't want to announce it seemed like. And Mark Rosewater is just sitting over there devilishly looking. And, I don't know what the back end politics are and what Daddy Hasbro, how much thumb he's got down on these guys. But, I think Mark's looking to retire soon at some point, and maybe even Elaine. They've been around for a very long time, and maybe they're just at the point now where they're like, let's get some cool stuff out there that we've always wanted to do, and that's it. We're gonna push it. Or who knows? Again, I'm speculating here. I don't know. Maybe they are totally against it, and Daddy Hasbro says, if you want a job, you're doing this. But I highly doubt that. There are decision makers way below that are actually calling these shots. So I don't know what to think about it. I've seen some people say, well, there's going to be lawsuits now, and, who knows? Maybe there will be. I think Wizards probably, if Wizards was like, you know what, let's see if the lawsuits happen, they would have just actually reprinted the cards in a playable format, in a playable product. And they would have just been like, well, bring on the lawsuits. But I think that they are intentionally trying to skirt the reserve list, right? Like, they're intentionally thinking, well, we can release this product and nobody's going to sue. They're not going to have grounds to sue. We've got all these stipulations. And realistically, they probably do, but it doesn't mean they won't have a fight on your hands, right? Like, you can be sued for anything. Anybody can sue you for anything. And then there's the trial and all that you've got to prove all this stuff and defend yourself, or, have a prosecution against you. And, it takes a bunch of time, but I think Wizards doesn't want that, so I'm pretty sure that they're feeling like this totally skirts that reserve list restriction. And because if they didn't think that, right, if they didn't think that this skirted that, then they would just go with a full actual printing. They would just print the actual set. They would just put out reserve list cards, and I don't know, maybe they would do it in a big way like this where it's a complete set. It's not all the reserve list cards, there's Gaia's Cradle and stuff that have been reprinted, and they're high dollar. Even the gold border Gaia's Cradle is like crazy expensive right now. And maybe Wizards is like, these people are out here buying these cards that aren't even tournament legal. Let's just release a non-tournament legal set and people will buy it. We will get their money. I guarantee you that conversation happened. I guarantee you somebody in Wizards of the Coast said, there's people buying these non-playables and they're spending hundreds if not thousands of dollars on non-playables. We can make money on that. That happened. There's no way it didn't. I don't know. There seems like they're doing a lot of questionable things. The whole Legends inserts. I'm not one of the people that think they reprinted Legends. I saw a lot of people doing that. Oh, they reprinted it and they're throwing them in there and they're claiming they found them. I don't believe that at all. I think they I don't think people understand how easy it is for a pallet to get lost actually in a warehouse. Not even lost, just in the back stored. They've got a huge backlog of stuff. They probably have a couple boxes of alpha beta somewhere. They've got tons of pre-reserve list stuff just hanging out. So I'm not questioning that, but it's just, I question I guess it's not a horrible way to do that release, but it does put doubt in people's minds and it does question things. And I think Wizards is kind of just getting shot after shot after shot on just like, what are you guys doing? Why are you doing this? They're almost jumping the shark with just how many different releases they're having. And they've always had a lot of releases. I'm not doubting, I'm not saying that all of a sudden there's this huge influx of releases, but there kind of are when it comes to non-standard stuff, right? Like all of the secret layers and whatnot, there's tons of them, tons of them. You just can't keep up. There was a time, and back in my day when I was a boy, I have friends that did this. We collected every promo that came out. We had every card that came out. As they came out, we made sure we got those promos. And it wasn't really that hard. You just had to be active. If you took a break for 2-3 months from Magic, it might be hard to pick up an F&M promo. You'd have to pay you'd have to pay $10 instead of getting it for free for playing F&M. But you were able to collect everything. Most of it, 99%. As stuff was coming out. Now, as stuff is coming out, you cannot do it. There is nobody, unless you're a business, maybe the Rudies of the world, but 99% of people cannot buy everything that comes out. And I'm not saying you should be able to. I'm just explaining there's a huge difference from how it was to where we are now. You used to be able to keep up with releases and promos and special products, things of that nature, and it wouldn't really hurt your wallet. You had to have a job that paid okay, an expendable income, but and time, if you're playing in the F&Ms, but now it's like it doesn't matter how much time or how much money you as an individual have, you're not keeping up. It's just too much product. And maybe some people like that. I don't know whether that's a good thing or a bad thing. I'm just, again, putting it out there that it's very different than it was. And this is just another product, right? Just another product to put on shelves. I do like that they're giving stores a little bump. So any WPN store is getting one free box of 4 packs. And I think the premieres are getting 4 or 3. I think it's 3. So that's nice. It's a nice little boost to stores, but stores are just going to sit on them or mark them up crazy. They're MSRP is $1,000, but they're going to sell them for $2,500. Again, that's the free market. I'm okay with that. I'm just explaining what's going to happen. I don't know. Are these a good long-term investment? Maybe. Put in the comments below your total thoughts on that. Do you think that this is something that is going to appreciate greatly in the long term? Do you think it's detrimental? Like I said, I don't think it is detrimental to the CEs and ICEs or even official reserve list cards. There's kind of a tier system. You have official real cards, then you have like the ICE, CE cards, and then you have stuff like gold borders from the championship decks, and then like random other weird stuff. This, I believe, is a better product, a more official product than kind of the gold front bordered, like the Gaia's Cradle that everybody likes. The gold borders, because the fronts are different, kind of push it below this proxy level. So if you look at it in that sense, in the long term, it'll fit right below CE and right above those championship decks, in my opinion, is probably what's going to happen. I still don't like it. Will I buy one? I don't know. I don't think so. I almost kind of wish people would boycott, but then the ironic thing is, if you start pushing a boycott this product, not Wizards, I'm not saying boycott Magic and Wizards, just this product, just don't buy this product. If you push that, then there's people out there that are going to try to hoard and buy up this product because, well, nobody bought it. So in the long term, when nobody buys a product, in the long term, if it's still a kind of sought after thing to a degree 15 years from now, then the price really skyrockets because it was a product nobody bought. Just like early Magic. Not a lot of people bought early Magic. We were the outcasts. We were the minority in the gaming world, let alone the whole collectibles world, right? Nobody collected Magic cards. It was very rare. Most game stores didn't. There weren't even game stores back then. That's the thing people don't realize. There weren't even game stores back when Magic came out. Realistically, there were comic book shops, there were sports card stores, and like traditional hobby stores like Hobbytown for like RC cars and whatnot. And bookstores sometimes carried it. One of the local places we have was a local bookstore called Black and Red, and they carried some Magic stuff, but not until later, right? Like very early on, maybe if a place carried D&D, then they would carry Magic cards. But it wasn't until a couple years later where it started to get a little bit bigger, and then actual game stores started popping up. I mean, there were D&D stores, but there were no Magic the Gathering stores, was my point. There were game stores, but very far and few between. Warhammer stores over in Europe and stuff. But mostly they were like hybrid stores. They were mostly like comic books or sports cards that also dealt with some fantasy type stuff and those weird collector cards, superhero cards and stuff like that. They might have brought in Magic, but real Magic stores where they had tournaments and events, that didn't come till later. But the point is that those items were very limited, especially by today's standards with how many players there are. And now with this release, who knows? Maybe, I don't know how many they've printed. They're probably not going to release the number. It would be nice to know the exact print run of this. It may come out in the future, but if nobody buys it now and the people that do buy it have it and something happens with the other stuff, it gets destroyed. Sometimes companies will destroy. I highly doubt Wizards will do that. But some companies will destroy excess product if they're trying to be honorable. As an example, when I was doing spoils, we had a limited release for a card called Gideon. And this is before actually Magic had Gideons. And it was one of the better cards in the game, probably one of the best creatures in the game. And we had basically a reprint, and people were kind of upset, but it was a promo reprint. But we said, we got to print it on a normal sheet. We got to print it on these sheets. We have to print X amount of sheets. We were very transparent. We have to print X amount of sheets to get the promos that everybody needs for their version of FNM. And we printed out all these sheets, and then we took the Gideons and we destroyed a whole bunch of them to show, hey, we're limiting these. We're not going to have the same number of these Gideons floating around, even if it's in our back office, as we have the other promos. This is a rarer promo. So straight out the sheets, out the boxes, we destroyed a bunch of them. So there are companies that do that, but I don't think Wizards is that type of company, and it proves with the Legends thing that they've got stuff sitting around and they're not going to destroy it, right? And they'll justify it in whatever way. And some people would say, well, they shouldn't destroy it. It's a history. It's there's value there, and they should optimize their value. And I'm not arguing that they shouldn't. I'm not saying they should destroy it. I'm just saying that is the path some companies will take. But I don't think Wizards is that company. So if they print out 10,000 of these or 100,000 of these, again, we have no idea. Maybe they'll be even more limited than the Cs. But if they print them out, they're going to exist and they're going to get out in some way. So it's not like if we don't buy them and we boycott them, they're just going to not print them, right? They're not print on demand. They will still be out there. And at some point, they'll put them in booster packs. Oh, you open up a booster pack and now you get your 30th anniversary, time walk. Time Twister for EDH, whatever. They'll find a way to use them and they'll find a way into the market. So that's not going to happen. One more thing that I found out was that there are going to be artist proofs for these things. If you don't know what an artist proof is, it's basically cards that get sent out to the artists that are white backed. It's got a regular front, but then they have a white back. And they're usually given to the artist. They usually get 50 of each card that they did art for, and they're able to give them out and sign them. And some people have them art them, as you see. We've got different arted artist proofs. Just a quick little show here. And so they're all blank backed. And anybody that happens to have artist proofs that are, there's this one here. Here's all the original shocks. Mr. Alexander did a mural for me, or a full picture for me. Anybody that has those sort of things for reserve list cards, now they're not so reserve list. I am curious though. Well, I guess they're still different because the original reserve list artist proofs, like this guy, are square cornered. So there's that, right? Like at least they're still square cornered. But there are going to be blank backed versions of these cards. I don't know. Seems real close to that reserve list agreement that was made. And one last little, Wizards of the Coast, oops, potentially. I don't know. Look at this. So this is a Meek Stone. Meek Stone is by Sir Quentin Hoover. And for those that don't know, he passed away, and his family now has potentially rights to his artwork. Wizards never actually owned full rights to the artwork, and Justin Hoover, if you read these comments, thinks he might have some legal rights to the artwork. I don't know, guys. Just the whole set seems like a mistake. Ugh. Anyway, I'm kind of ranting here. Sorry, guys. Tell me your thoughts on the products below. What do you think? Are you going to buy it? How many are you going to buy if you buy them? You going to try to collect the whole set? Do you like the retro frames better, or do you like the new frames better? Are you going to try to get that cool soul ring? I don't know. Anyway, guys, make sure you like, subscribe, share, hit that notification bell so that you know when things are coming. We're going to have a new content come out. And we've got a new platform coming out as well for buy, sell, and auction. We'll put a link to that in the description below. We also have a video about it. If you check the channel, you should see a video on that, just how to set up a sales post and whatnot. Anyway, I'm not trying to hawk that too hard, but it is a really cool platform, so I kind of suggest if you are a buyer or a seller, check it out. Until next time, guys, get out there and get your cardboard on the card table.